Over injectivity, surjectivity, and bijectivity in math. So let's get started. Let's get into this. So what are all these weird names? Well, they're just labels for functions. They're properties of functions slash maps. And maps and functions are just ways of assigning things to other things. So here's an example. Injectivity. So let's say I have a set of augmers. I just got a triple augmer. Been very lucky today. And let's say I have a bunch of beggar knights in the nexus, and I want to give away an augmer to each one of the knights. So one way of doing that is doing this. I give the top, the third, and the last knight each an augmer. Another way I could do it is I can give the middle three augmers. And this characterizes injectivity. So if I call this map F, I would say F is injective. Why? Because no knight is getting two augmers. I'm giving one augmer to one knight. I'm not going to give two augmers to one knight, because that would make him rich. Filthy rich, actually. So I will not be doing that. So let's get into a more mathematical definition. So we have here a map F from S to T, so from our augmers to knights, said to be injective if whenever x and y in our augmers, whenever we have two augmers, and they're not the same augmer, x is not equal to y, then the knight corresponding to the augmer is not the same. So, what does that mean? So let's say we have a mapping F. So the top two augmers go to that one knight. He somehow got his hands on two augmers. What a filthy knight. And then I give that augmer at the bottom to the bottom knight. So I would say F is not injective here, because if we pick the two augmers, the very top, and we know that they're not equal, they're two separate augmers, and we check what they're being mapped to, they're being mapped to the same knight. But that violates our definition here, because it's required that the knights be different. Here we have the same knight. So this is not an injective map. And on to surjectivity. What is surjectivity? Okay, well let's say I'm a guild leader, and I have two of my guildies playing, and I want them to solo some dungeons. But I have here these 4 dungeons here, and I only have 2 players. I have a paladin and a mystic. So one way I can have them solo these dungeons is with this map. So here we see the paladin is going to solo the Shatters in the Moonlight Village. And the mystic is going to solo the Candyland and the Ocean Trench. This map is surjective. Here we also have another surjective map. So I let the paladin solo the bottom 3 dungeons, because it's never wise to trust a mystic. So I'll have the mystic solo the Sealand, because that's where he belongs. This is a surjective map. So let's call it F. I would say it's surjective. Why? Because each one of my guildies is getting at least 1 dungeon to solo. For example, if I removed the arrow from the mystic, then this map wouldn't be surjective, because there'd be a guildie that's not soloing a dungeon. So more formally here, we say a map is surjective if the image f of s is equal to all of t. What does that mean? Basically that means that all the arrows are pointing to all of the guildies. And we see here that indeed the arrows are hitting each guildie, which is good. So this map, F, is called surjective. So what if a function is both injective and surjective? That means the function's bijective. Here's an example. Let's just say I bought some decas off of realmstock.com. I have 4 decas, and my 4 rogue guildies just got on, and I'm feeling really generous. I want to give them decas. So a most obvious, generous, and fair way to give them the decas would be to give each one, and only one deca. So we have here a bijective mapping. We notice that there's 4 decas and 4 rogues. So thus we have a bijective mapping. Thank you guys for staying, and I hope you learned something. Dire Sheep out.